Could you guys hear me? It's not going like that again. Let me know you can hear me. I'm not going to go another 20 minutes chatting to myself unless I know for sure you guys hear me. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Got a little back end stuff to do real quick. Just take about 5 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. 2020. Third time's going to be a charm. All right. YouTube fam, Fat Man Zoom, welcome to Own the Chaos. We are live. Last day of the week. Markets close tomorrow. We got 25 minutes before the bell. Let me shout out our starting 5. Oliver Thorpe, housekeeping. Jeff Chow, what's up? Tiger's Edge and Lexo, whoop, whoop. You're our starting 5. I like the energy. Run through the chat a little bit. I didn't get to see too much. Panika, sorry, man, you're 6. Ralph Vandenhoek, I hope you're still holding on to those Tesla calls. Maybe sold them today. Wouldn't have been a bad idea. But you crushed those. Good job, my friend. Lexus said, I heard Elon is still selling Tesla until next Thursday. Perhaps. He mentioned he might still have a little bit to sell. Largely done. Are we going to get it right this time? We got it a little bit better. Not totally right. Jeff Panico, he's keeping us on our toes. Returns for the top 5 stocks for December. Month to date. We have Amazon's down 0.5%. Everything else is up. MRO's up 6%. Disney's up 8%. PayPal's up 7%. Airbnb's up 5%. Looks good. Looks good. Will Amazon make up the ground next week to get us a 5 for 5 month? Oliver Thorpe, thank you for that. I was ready today. All right, guys, it looks good. Count didn't work perfectly, but it started. We got half of the countdown. All right, guys. IOUS, those that were in it, apparently that did well. I didn't get to look at the chart, but I did see you guys chatting it up. So, welcome to On the Cats. For those of you who haven't been here before and aren't familiar with it, this is Stock Market Live, where we go live every Monday through Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Usually I have my partner in crime who's sitting right about here, B. Smith. He is not here today. He will be back Sunday when we go live at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Stock Watch Sunday, we prepare for the week, give our 5 stocks we're watching. So he will be back. He has the COVID. He is now almost recovered. Looking forward to getting him back. Although, good news is I'm not solo today. We'll have our friend Freddie Valoy. He's back after his little vacation. And we'll have him joining us. So that'll be good. I need a little bit of chatter. So if you guys aren't familiar with the channel, we call it On the Chaos because the stock market is crazy and chaotic, and we've made it our mission to help you own it. Jeff Panika, let me say this face to face. Appreciate the gift, man. A lot of good stuff. Actually, I have one of the things right here. On the Chaos mug. Hell yeah. Good stuff, man. Among other things. All right, guys. So let's get started. Make sure you stick around. Hit that thumbs up button if you're ready for Freddie Valoy. After Freddie, I'm going to get into the topic of the day. 5 stocks to buy under $20. And I'm also going to talk to you about the lessons I've learned from 2021. That's the theme of the day. Lessons we've learned. So without further ado, let's welcome Freddie Valoy.
What's up, Chaos Crew? I am here in a safe house in Kazakhstan. It feels like I got wires. I got the computer set up on a paper shredder right now. So we're getting it done. I hope you guys are doing well. Chime in. Let me know where you're from. Somebody let me know. Somebody sent me the 2021 porn search histories by state, which is very interesting. Some made sense, some didn't. So let me know what state you're from. What did I learn this year? I learned that high school's still going on. It is. We may not have the classes, but the dynamics are the same, right? You got the jocks, you got the nerds, you got the goth girls. They're still hot, doing their thing. We still have child slave labor going on. We had that. If you were selling candy bars at a 60% markup for your basketball team, you were, you weren't that different from the kids in China in a way. What else? There was pedophilia. There's still pedophilia. There was that in high school. In my high school, we used to have 20-year-old men picking up teenage girls. That was weird. They didn't know how weird it was until now. How are we switching it up? I also learned that that ice cream makes you fat. Enough ice cream will get you big. So I had to cut off the ice cream when I found out I was pre-diabetic. And I don't like being a stereotype, okay? You guys are thinking, black guy, he's got pre-diabetes. It makes sense. I don't like that, I want to be different. No diabetes. What else have I learned this year? I've learned that a Whopper Jr. and an Adderall can take you a long way. Not too much of each. Moderation is key. Benjamin Franklin had it all figured out. Christian, that's Fat Man Zoom. That's it for me, man. Right back to you.
So we do have Lexus from Cali. Cali's in the house. What do you got for Cali in the Pornhub search?
Cali is Asian.
Ooh.
Which makes sense. That one makes sense. The ones in the South that are like racially based make sense. Montana is anal cream pie. I don't know why. Is it because of the cold weather? Cream pie seem warm, but that, sorry to get dirty here, but the what? Yeah. Frozen. What other states we have here?
Well, somebody shout out from London. Shout out London. That's not on the list.
London is probably a dentistry porn, if I had to guess.
London is very interesting.
Texas is thick Latina.
Ooh.
Florida, BBC. New York, foot job. Weird. There's a lot of walking in the city. Maybe that has something to do with it,
Well, you live in North Carolina, so what do you got for North Carolina?
This one's weird. Penis pump.
Oh, well, yeah. It's not weirder. See, Brad's actually in the chat, and he made the mistake of actually asking Maryland. Maryland's not. You probably shouldn't ask that question.
Maryland is trans, which makes sense because that area by DC and Virginia, those it's you don't know what's DC and what's not. I think that could have something to do with it. Illinois, hand job.
Yep. You got Chicago, Illinois. You got Louisiana. What is Louisiana? I don't know which states are which.
Louisiana is, I got to figure out which one's which. It's either furry or ebony. Furry or ebony. India is
Louisiana is right next to Texas, to the right of Texas.
Oh no, Louisiana's naked women.
Oh, that's boring.
Yeah, right.
It's really boring.
India. We don't have India, but I'll make it up. It is coding. Coding porn is India. Brazil, bunda. We don't have bundas in the house. I have to imagine. I don't know. I just want to know. Yeah, Louisiana is naked women. Vancouver, Canada.
Let me ask you this question. The theme for today is lessons we've learned from 2021. We're wrapping up the year. It's always good to reflect, take time to think back on what we've learned and what the universe has taught us. Now, for me, I'm going to get into what the market has taught me. But for you, any lessons you learned from 2021?
Patience.
Oh.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, patience and just like perspective. I recently I had a little downturn on my attitude of my job for the past year or so. But I would say the last like couple months I've been having fun waking up. It sucks to wake up and be like, ugh, and it's porn curry. Was that India? That's funny. Yeah, I would have to say the last 2 months of my job, the last 2 months of the year, I've been crushing it. My boss is noticing, my accounts are noticing. So your boy's back. I'm feeling great.
Nice.
And grateful that I got out of that weird negative hole. I'm not used to being a negative at looking at things negatively. So that was probably the biggest thing for me.
I love it.
How about you, Fat Man?
So, in life, what did I learn this year in life? I would say what stood out to me most is so the lesson I learned was that I was prioritizing other relations over myself. So the lesson is probably the most important relationship is relationship with self. You give so much energy to those around you where sometimes you forget that to take care of numero uno and whatever that means, right? Whether it's getting sleep, whether it's getting time alone, whatever. I think that was the biggest lesson because we were with ourselves so much in 2020. And then you realize, hey, we give so much to those around us. People say, make sure your cup's full, all that. I think the impetus behind it is, hey, make sure you take care of yourself.
Yeah. If you don't prioritize your happiness, no one else will.
Agreed, my man. So guys, throw in the chat from the market perspective. What did the market teach you? Sometimes it chews you out, spits you out. Sometimes it gives you good, positive lessons. But
Georgia, Crypto Plumber asked, Georgia, that is big ass porn. Sanjeev K, that's a very funny comment. It's porn curry. I'll get into that. That must be delicious.
Jeff Panika, Fat Man Zoom, grateful for your adorable daughter. Mini Zoom, yeah, Mini Zoom crushed it. Great year for her. Nice. We have on Twitter, I actually asked lesson, just a dad guy said, don't panic, which kind of leads into the lessons that I just thought about 5 lessons and listen, a lot of these are obvious, but it's important to point out and it's important to think about. And I mainly wanted to share them with you, Freddie, because as you have just begun your training journey, I think these are things that you're going to come back to and you're going to remember. So guys in the chat, what did you learn? Gamer Stream says, ban me. Here I go. Boom. Yeah. You got it, friend.
He likes BDSM porn, apparently.
So throw in there what you guys learned. What was the biggest lesson? Darren Anderson, I learned that some injuries are permanent. The legal system never compensates enough. That's fair.
Yeah.
Jeff Panika, I learned avoid falling knives.
That's a good
one. That's actually one that I had put on there. I said the knife cuts deep. Now, a falling knife, and we can actually go to Crocs. Well, remember that when I bring up Crocs, because we're going to talk about that, we'll come back to falling knife. Definitely, which kind of goes to like waiting for confirmation, and confirmation bias. So like, there's a fine line between the reality of what happens in the indifference towards it and the other side of it, which is you having confirmation bias, which you're convincing yourself what you thought was happening is happening, and you're not actually looking at something objectively. Confirmation bias is probably the number one challenge that I see with people in the market, and I experience it myself. Confirmation bias and recency bias. Do you know what recency bias is, Freddie?
Yeah, I just learned that, and I suffer from that myself. Something comes up, and I'm like, oh, I'm the biggest fan of this right now. And then like 2 months later, I'm the biggest fan of something else. I kind of like it. It's fun, but it can get you into trouble.
Well, so how it works with the stock market recency bias is you'll allow a stock that didn't work out in your favor, right? You do all the due diligence, you do all the technical analysis, and it doesn't play out like you thought it would, right? And so you think it's all set, you're ready to crush it, and then it goes the opposite direction. You lose your ass. The next time you are in a similar situation, if your emotions come into play, you can have recency bias as the most recent situation that you've had is going to skew your judgment. So rather than just say, hey, this is what's supposed to happen the majority of the time, I'm going to trust essentially the law of averages, you allow the most recent situation to skew your decision. So you may not invest as much. You may have a little bit of cold feet. You may change your strategy thinking, oh, even though it's telling me it's going to go up, last time I thought it was going to go up, it went down, so I'm going to bet on it going down, and you lose your ass, right? So recency bias is really hard to overcome. Again, you got to just trust the law of averages, trust your DD, and just realize sometimes it doesn't work out. That's hard to overcome.
Yeah.
Don, we're talking about the biggest lesson of 2021, what the market has taught us in 2021. And this is a serious one. Lexa learned never sell Tesla. That is a very good lesson. Jeff Chow learns I need to learn options. I was thinking about that on the drive over. I would agree with that. As we're learning more options and getting comfortable with options, I was under the impression that you learn stocks and then you learn options and then you learn options. You kind of go towards options and that's all you do. Like you kind of commit to one. You can commit to options, but also I think my biggest learning from working with Don Fran with options is you can actually do both, whether it's in, having stocks and leveraging options to collect premiums or hedge or whatever. There's multiple strategies, but you can actually go all options if you want. You can go all stocks if you want, or you can actually do a hybrid, which I really like, and I'm enjoying learning options. But certainly learn options and take your time. Start with the wheel strategy. Start with spread. Start with something simple, and just be patient with it. Again, patience. We talked about that thread. G Money set that stop loss and stick with it. Absolutely. That goes back to trusting your due diligence. Darren Anderson, I learned to do my own DD and learn charting. Yeah, listen, at the end of the day, trust yourself. Not me, not Brad, not somebody else. It's helpful to provide perspective, but you got to push that buy button. You got to push that sell button, and you best believe you want to know that you put the time in. Not, hey, Fat Man Zoom said this, so I'm going to do it. It's on you. Trust, which Oliver Thorpe says, trust your own convictions, not others.
Nice. I like Sanjeev K's comment at 3:47.
I learned to stay away from MSNBC, CNN, and Fox and start following some cool YouTubers. Yeah. Some lessons are harder to stick. Controlling emotions and sticking with strategies. Absolutely. Jeff Panico learned to buy leap options in the money. Me Maroon, always have cash in your hand and always have an exit plan. First, always have an exit plan before you enter into the stock. That's in life too. A lot of people get in situations. I see this in business all the time when I coach entrepreneurs, especially partnerships. They try, like two people have been in business forever, and then they're coming to a point where one person wants to get out. Well, they never had an exit plan in the first place, right? Or marriages, right? There's a best example. Marriages that have an exit plan, a prenup is an example of an exit plan. If you don't, how many divorces get really ugly because you're trying to figure that out at the end?
Yep. That's a big one.
A lot of good stuff, guys. Keep them coming. Oliver Thorpe says the biggest lesson I try is to try and catch falling knives. Do your own research on when it's actually reached support and not when you feel it's just a great price. That's the thing. It's not just a great price. Confirmation. We talk about it all the time. Look for confirmation, ensure confirmation, and cut bait if it doesn't hold support. If you think it showed confirmation, if you think it bounced and then it's going down further as a fake out, just cut your losses. Don't get married to it. Don't fall in love. Don Fran, I liked what I heard. And yeah, once that trade is done, it's done. The next trade has nothing to do with it. I mean, when you really think about it, think about the trades you've made that didn't work out. How many at the time, it seems like the biggest deal in the world, but how many do you really remember? How many really stick with you? Months ago, years ago, I don't remember any of the ones that I was stressing over. I remember sitting there stressing over them, but I couldn't tell you which ticker it was. Congrats to Rob T. Made his first options play, Ford and Penn. Listen to Don Fran Show. Yeah, check out Don Fran at the Don Fran Show. He's also live every Sunday before us. Goes live usually around 7 p.m. Eastern. To be patient and choose the energy around me. That's great. Choose the energy around you. I love that. Watch is a watch list, not a buy list. That's true. Never look back, only forward, and use any loss as a lesson how to be a better trader. You can use these things in life too. We're dropping nuggets, Freddie.
Oh yeah. Don Franz comment.
I told my wife I was trailing this marriage with a stop loss. She wasn't happy. Gabby says, when Mini Zoom buys a stock, buy it. I couldn't agree with you more. She's batting 1,000. Don Franz remembers his biggest loss. What was your biggest loss? People want to know. Let me see what else. So I'll run through the ones I had written down as I was reflecting. Patience. That always is at the top of the list. Patience. And no matter how many times you think you learn it, it still comes back. Having patience. Yeah. The knife cuts deep. Don't catch a falling knife. The more things change, the more they stay the same. That was one of my biggest lessons for this year. We try to convince ourselves that things are different. And this could go for life as well, but I'm talking about the stock market. We try to convince ourselves that this thing is different. Technology is different. It's going to keep running. Inflationary pressures, what's happening in the economy isn't going to impact us. We're going to be fine. We can keep dumping money in. This stock's going to run for whatever it is, right? This is why it's different. Crypto, like all these things, we try to explain away why they're different, but history always repeats itself. Always repeats itself. It might be with a different medium, but it always repeats itself. I think that's the one thing. One of my biggest takeaways is the more things change, the more they stay the same. What do you think about that, Freddie?
I like it a lot. I saw something on the internet that said history doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme, which I think is even it gives you that freedom to start seeing a little bit of a wider perspective, so you can catch the quote unquote repeat. I like that phrasing.
Don Franz says the excuses change, but the story is always the same. Amen, brother. Don Franz's biggest loss last December. I was deep in Amazon calls and it went sideways. Didn't make sense to sell, but Theta got me for 50K. 50K hit. Ooh,
wow.
Sanjeev's biggest learning: invest in my health, eating clean and healthy. That's great.
Sanjeev, I'm with you there, man. I lost 12 pounds in the last month. So
that's awesome, man.
Feeling good. Yeah.
Another lesson: being a first mover pays off. And then this is more, you can relate it to actually trading stocks, but it's more thinking about businesses, and taking chances from a speculative perspective. And then the last thing, my biggest learning, is to always be learning. And that's the one, probably this is from a positive takeaway. The fact that we kind of fell into options, we didn't need to go into options, but just kind of getting ourselves out of our comfort zone. I think it's good just in general, no matter what it is, to create a bit of discomfort. And I think there's probably some quote about, like comfort and the enemy of growth or whatever. But I do believe that creating discomfort, always trying to be learning, even if you feel like you're set, because there's always opportunity, always room for growth. Those are my lessons, Freddie.
I like that.
All the water in the world doesn't sink a ship unless a hole lets it in the way. The world's negativity doesn't get in unless you let it silence the noise. Negativity is tough, man. Negativity is tough. I learned number 4, selling and booking profit is not a loss. Absolutely. FOMO is real. Knowledge is not enough. I'm a big proponent of what's the word? It's basically what it says is like, knowledge is not power, but like there's a word, it's like using knowledge.
Application
of knowledge. Application of knowledge. There's a point, right? If you're learning, there's got to be a point where you're like, all right, let me start applying these things to my life, and we'll keep with the stock market, there's got to be a point where you're like, okay, I'm learning all these things, but like you got to apply it, and then you've got to make a determination on what the results are.
Yeah, my mom always says, broke dudes love to philosophize. So like, if you're philosophizing too much, you're probably,
Wisdom is knowledge applied, says
Nice.
Jeff Chow. Implementation, application, yeah. We're all on the same page. So, I mean, I don't mean to get all like fluffy, but like, I think it is important. This is a great time of year as you do housekeeping, on your account, as you evaluate balances, your financial health, all that stuff. Also, looking back on those things are really important to me personally. So I appreciate you guys in that discussion. That was good. Good stuff you guys put.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Last one I'll end with is Oliver Thorpe. I learned you don't have to look for the next big thing. Just invest in quality. Doesn't matter if you are late to the party, if it's a great party. Damn right. The best example is Tesla. Why look for the next Tesla? Just buy Tesla. Why look for the next Apple? Just buy Apple. That's a good one for you, Freddie.
Brian Woods. I learned Nancy Pelosi is the greatest trader in the world. That's funny.
Best returns. Just follow her investments.
Philip Stroh from New York. The 2021 porn search is foot job for New York. So just to keep that in mind.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and I want to talk to you about Crocs and tell everybody about Crocs as well. Because I know that one that you felt like you missed the boat a little bit. And I've got some news.
What's up?
I think you have an opportunity, man. I think you may have an opportunity.
About 2 minutes ago, I seized the opportunity.
You bought it.
I bought 4 Crocs.
All right. What do you know? What your dollar cost average was? Your cost basis on it was?
You mean like how much I paid for it?
Yep.
123.
$123 a share.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yep, that sounds good. All right, let me share my screen with you guys. So let's start about let's show Crocs. And Crocs had some news today, and we're big fans of Crocs as I share my screen. Thanks, Jeff. We are super dudes. Don says, don't have to be first on the train, just on the train. I like where you guys' head's at. Okay, so let's start here with the news. So Crocs had an acquisition announcement, which you would think this should be great news, but we've seen examples of it not working out. You think an acquisition, we talk about this, spend cash, let's move this stock, great news. Should go up. Doesn't always happen. There's been some recent examples of when it doesn't happen. However, let me first say this. I'm just making sure we can see everything. So here's what happened. It was announced this morning that Crocs is finalizing an acquisition of a company called Hey Dude, which is a footwear company. Have you heard of this company, Freddie?
Yes.
What do you think about it? What do you think about their product?
I don't have any experience with their product, but I have seen it around, but I can't exactly remember in what context. It might be at the hospital, which is another place I see Crocs at. I've seen Crocs almost every like whatever demographic, social group, whatever. Yeah. So
it was a $2.5 billion acquisition in a cash and stock deal. It was like I wish I had written this down, but basically what happened was, and somebody could put it in the chat to give the exact numbers, but I believe basically the essence of it was they had to take a loan out for it. And they had a revolving, like $50 million revolving line of credit. Basically they had to borrow money or leverage themselves.
Dave Ramsey would not be happy.
Yeah, David Ramsey would not be happy. And so it's, the case is such that basically, you got Apple, who has a massive cash pile. $2.5 billion is nothing. here's just the argument. This is not me saying whether I agree with it or disagree with it. The argument is that you're leveraging debt to make this acquisition. And it's the amount. So it's 2.5 billion. And I'm going to just go over to the chart as I'm explaining this. This is the Webull chart. So as you can see currently now, what are we at? Down 11%, came down all the way to 115.85, which I think the bounce happened because the CEO did speak and the CEO had said, had justified it. But before we get into that, the problem is that if the acquisition was 2.5 billion revenue, so I'm not taking out operating cost, I'm not just revenue for the whole year was right around 2 billion. So I think that's the biggest issue for the skeptics, right? For the bear case of it is that, and a large portion of that is operating income. So really what you got to look at is what cash is left over. And so when you think about like net income, or even EBITDA, any of those metrics are probably better to look at. Like after you take out the cost of manufacturing the goods, what are you left with? And really, if you take out all your costs, what cash you're left with, it's a far cry from $2.5 billion. And I think that's the bear case. Now, I believe that this is a great acquisition, and I believe that this will work out well for them. They talked about diversifying their portfolio. How much of a wave can you ride on just clogs, on just one type of product, and how many iterations of these rubber clogs? So I think it's fair for them to do that. You think about another company, they don't look far. The Hey Dude doesn't look dissimilar to like Tom's. Remember that brand, Tom's?
Yeah.
So I think this is what we're going to see with them is, they got an established company, they got an established brand. Now this gives us a different type of shoe, and we'll see how it resonates with people. Remains to be seen. I have no familiarity with Hey Dude. I saw some of their shoes online, but I haven't seen them in person, nor have I had any conversations with anybody that has them. But if we look at this technically, this is like 35% off the recent highs. And I mean, it was already in a downtrend off of earnings. And then this news came out. We see this huge red candle have a bounce. We really need to get it to close above the 200-day moving average. The 200-day moving average sits at 126.53. Doesn't look like that's going to happen today because where the market is closed. But that's going to be crucial for next week, critical for next week. Does this 200-day act as a resistance? So this, can you see the screen? Can you see the chart, Freddie?
Yes.
So a falling knife is basically when a stock tanks. And if you see a bunch of red candles, especially these big red candles, you saw these big red candles. Once that happens, like, the natural thing to do is be like, whoa, it sold off, I'm getting a deal. You theoretically could be catching a falling knife right now because this could just keep going down. And that's what we got to figure out. There isn't technical confirmation, but here's a couple things that are factors for you that are positive. One is you're not selling anytime soon. This is a long-term investment account. So for every trade you make, if you remember, we talked about scaling in and scaling out. You should have scaled in, so you don't just put your whole nut in. You scale, you buy some shares, and then once it starts moving up again, you add to it. If it moves down, you add to it in your dollar cost averaging. So you're getting a better price per share, a better cost basis is what it's called.
Here's something funny. When Jeff P, his advice was watch out for falling knives, I thought he was being funny. I thought it was like, oh yeah, obviously watch out for falling knives. I didn't know that was in stock. That was a stock market term.
No, that is definitely a falling knife. A falling knife was Sam Adams. You could see here. We think this is confirmation. I'm in it. Jeff Panik is actually in it. About 50 day, but look how long this happened. This was from April. So if Sam Adams was crushing it, look at this run up. This run up was massive. Then it had a bad earnings, very similar to Crocs, started moving down, announced it truly wasn't performing well, was getting their ass handed to it, and it just came down. This gap down was gigantic. So you would have bought like right here, being like, oh man, I'm getting a deal. I'm getting, what was Sam Adams? Sam Adams was at like 1,300. I'm getting it for 900. And then it dropped again.
Oh my gosh.
Now Sam Adams is it hit below 500. It was at like, what is this? 435. Now it's at 525 is what it closed at. So that's an example of a falling knife. You caught it and then it just kept tanking.
Wow. Okay.
So the thought process is wait for a true confirmation of bounce and a new trend. This hasn't yet reversed trends. I feel confident it's been holding up really well. I need it to get over to 560, really 565 for me to feel happy for it to reverse trend. So the idea is, yeah, I might miss this little bit of run right here. But the reality is I still got all of this to work with. Just to make sure that the trend is reversed. This is a downtrend. Looks to be breaking out, but there's still a ways to go. So this is an example of a falling knife, and it looks like it's breaking out. So keeping an eye on that. Another example of a stock that merged and didn't have great news. Didn't respond well to it, was Salesforce, but that was, hold on, when is this? Was that here? I don't know the exact date of that. I think that was right here, in September, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, what's the price? Yeah. I think it was here. So you see this steady downtrend. Salesforce bought Slack and people didn't love it. Thought they overpaid for it. Zoom's another, this is the last example of a falling knife. Zoom's probably, it's been more on a steady decline. But yeah, this, even here, like if we look at Zoom from October to November of 2020, massive drop down, starts moving up. People think, oh man, I got in well, but it's been a slowly decay, a slow death. Zoom was at 588. Zoom is currently at $191. Imagine if you had Zoom at $500 and it's not even $200. That'd be a tough road. Yeah. Sam, good upside, asymmetrical trade. Yep. So that's what we have. I'm gonna close out with 5 stocks under $20, and I'm gonna try to go through these relatively quickly. It could be good setups. Chaos Crew, you guys know, Marathon Oil, a fan favorite, has performed well for us. I set an alert here at 1650. Looks to be making a move up. Break above this and really closing above the 50-day moving average will be hella bullish. I mean, this is a really, really important area. This could come back down to 1520. And if it comes back down, to me, closing above the 50-day moving average is really important. But if it doesn't, if the 50-day acts as a resistance, I got my eye right on 1550. Would be a great opportunity. But Oil got beaten down a little bit, was on a nice run, got beaten down. We talked about this for 2022. We expect to see it at $100 a barrel. So really bullish on oil. Take your pick, BP, Exxon, Chevron, what you wish. They're all good stuff. Palantir is another one. And really the basis is, listen, it's a tech company. It might continue to see choppiness. They've addressed the things they need to address. Commercial business, private business, private contracts, but they still have the government contracts, and we expect to see more, and the revenue is going to come in for that. They should have a monster earnings year next year. Really excited about that. If we saw some profit taking, 1850 is where I would be looking to get in. Love Palantir. Great long-term play. Kathy Wood favorite. Shout out to Lord, I believe it's Lord Blade Runner, who's playing this channel. Really organized on Ford. We love Ford. And I'm anxious to see how $20 plays out. I'm playing the wheel strategy on Ford right now. It's been working out so far, so good. This is like the best setup for the wheel strategy. This is like picture perfect. I'm looking for a pullback here. 1950 would be great. My strike on selling puts is $19. $19. That's the third. The fourth stock. Oh, is it not here? Uh-oh. Might have lost it. Oh, you son of a gun. Hold on. I'll pull it up for you guys. Oh, shit. Freddie got kicked. My bad. You're back,
Hello,
bro.
Hey.
How long have you been backstage?
Probably about 10 minutes, I think.
Oh, nice. I think when I shared the screen. Oh, damn. My bad. Oh, what was it? All right. It's not there anymore. Man, I did all that work to let you guys know. Hold on. Let me do this. That's fine. We'll look at Matterport. Metaverse play looks really good. 23.22 it sits. This 50-day moving average is 23.68, holding above there. Great asymmetrical trade opportunity. 2022 is going to continue to be the storyline as far as the metaverse is concerned. It's got to be. And then we had one more. We'll take Cleveland Cliffs. Now, this one I wouldn't be ready to get in, but Cleveland Cliffs we still think is going to do well. And when this starts trending up is another great opportunity in our opinion. I would really look at 2075. If they can break above that, I'd be happy there. We'll see what happens. So there you go, guys. Anyone you guys want to check me out? Eddie Bliss, we talked about why Crocs fell so much today. The market didn't like their acquisition, and it was a $2.5 billion acquisition of Hey Dude, another footwear company. So SG, can you show white background that does not show well on a laptop? We could consider that. I prefer light background, but people prefer the night mode. I don't know why, but they do. I'm not a big dark background guy. So anyways, man, SG, NCLH, and CCL for the long term around $20. Are they good long-term plays? For the long term, for sure. And actually, this looks really good. You see how this bounced off the 50-day moving average, SG? 2087. closed at 21.20. I'd be really bullish on that. I mean, 2050, I could set a stop there and be happy. I think there's going to be some continued choppiness. But 2023, I think we're going to see strong numbers for cruise liners. Again, the market kind of moves ahead of when these things actually happen. Forward-looking vessels, so could move just on the anticipation towards the next year. A lot of people are bullish a little bit sooner. Brad also may be bullish now. I think, even though I'm not concerned about the variant, I think people are still going to take precautions. So regardless if they need to be worried about it or not, I think we're going to see low travel numbers. And I think that's what TSA is going to report, lower travel numbers from airports. So I think that's going to be indicative of where we're going to see travel. Now, domestic could benefit. I think there's some things that could benefit, but I would say I expect some more choppiness in general. But you can't argue the chart. Take out the thoughts, set a tight stop. That's what I would do if I was worried about it. Favorite bank play? Our favorite is Goldman Sachs, but I think that have high upside. Man. I mean, you look at it technically, they all look very similar. I'd still go with Goldman Sachs. Morgan Stanley looks great. Right now at this moment, I'd probably be looking there. But if interest rates continue to rise, look out for like a Wells Fargo, Bank of America. But I'll say Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, and I'll throw in Bank of America, the three in that order. Is Crocs still a good buy? Absolutely, it's a good buy. It's about when. So wait for confirmation. The CEO kind of publicly stated like what the intention was with the acquisition. They're looking for expansion, international exposure, and diversification, product diversification, all good things. It's nice when like this big hit happens and the CEO gets out in front of it. So look for the market to digest this. Really look for analysts to give their feedback on this, and we'll see what they say. That's going to be really key. So I'd be, if it's short term, I'd be a little bit more careful. Long term, you can buy it, scale in, buy it, you'll be fine. Add on to a dollar cost average, you'll be in great shape. All right, that is all I have, guys. Thank you for showing up. We have Stock Watch Sunday this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Please hit the thumbs up. If you are so kind, you could also hit that subscribe button, notification bell. You'll get notified when we go live and when any videos are released. But this is our final Stock Watch Sunday for 2021. So I expect to see you guys there. B. Smith will be back. Freddie, any last words?
Hey, happy holidays, guys. Thanks for been really pumped being a part of the Chaos crew and all that. So I just want to thank you guys and happy holidays.
Oh, I do love Visa. I kind of put them in a different category for merchant processing, but that is up there for sure. Freddie, appreciate you, brother. We'll see you in the next one.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.